Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, and after a week off, out on assignment, Tate. I was out on assignment the last week, so it's been a couple of weeks. We're back in studio. I'm excited for a lot of different reasons. Certainly excited to be doing the show with you, Tate, but also it's state wrestling tournament, region basketball tournament. We love the postseason.
Hey, this is it when it comes to the winter season, right? We're here, and it's going to be exciting. A lot of there's already been a little bit of shake-up, right? Little zingers there, so very excited about it. Excited about the wrestling tournament for sure, and then the basketball tournaments starting to take shape, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But we plan on mini progressing farther and farther down the line.
Mini with a Y, not mini with an I.
Correct.
Hey, let's start with state wrestling. It's at the Ag Center. It'll be coming up this weekend, February 24th through the 26th. We have 69 wrestlers. That's a ton now. 69 wrestlers who qualify for the state tournament. That's boys and girls, Class A and AA. And I was really excited about this. We talk about the growth of girls wrestling. We had 15 qualify. In 2021, we only had 6.
Right.
Summit and Independence both get 5 each.
Oh, yeah. Growth of the sport, right? It's definitely trajecting upwards. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we don't double that next year and get 30.
I think it's in play. Hey, and look, I know we don't like Wilco on Wilco crime, but we like it when they face each other in the final.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we had a couple situations on the girls' side. Brooklyn Long of Independence, who, by the way, Brooklyn, 18-0 on the season.
Undefeated.
Unbelievable. Defeated Emma Stevenson of Summit in the final. Then at 132 pounds, it's another all-WCS final. Kaylin Thomas of Ravenwood over Brentwood's Erica Moore. And let me tell you, Erica Moore has been a kind of a powerhouse.
She's been a staple for sure.
So for her, for Ravenwood's Thomas to get that win in the Battle of the Wood, wrestling style. Hey, I've noticed now. I've noticed. Coach Bond, the white tiger, has taken on the wood thing. I notice he says Battle of the Wood.
Yeah, he does his research. He's a smart fellow.
Well, he won't be totally happy about this week's gym, which we're going to get to in a minute.
No, but he wasn't here.
Yeah, so he'll be all about. It'll probably be like the old. Remember when Dennis King, when he came back? Well, you know, because you had the stuff. One side was green and gold for Hillsboro,
yes,
and the other side was maroon and green.
Yes, and he said, "Hey man," he said, "Hey man," he said, "For years, man, Franklin's been kicking our tail, man, and then we finally got that monkey off our back. Now we can't beat Troy on Hill." He goes, "I'm gonna get maroon one side, green on the." He goes, "They're gonna wear those freaking jerseys every single day, man, until we get tough." He said that. Now, do you remember the rest of the story?
Yeah, because Hatley took the job, didn't he?
Yes.
And he was like, and you had to say, "Hey, Coach, I got some news for you.
Correct.
You've got an interesting reversal."
I said, "I think you're going to want to cancel this." Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, his eyes got that big. But the best part is then when he came back, he did it again. But I can't remember what the colors were. He did it again, and he had a backup set. He had a backup set already made that were royal white. And I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Franklin again.
They had that 59-game winning streak in the district, I think.
When they finally beat whoever it was that he was mad about, they had a ceremony. Who knows with him? I'm sure it got a little weird. They had a ceremony or whatever, and they burned them. They burned the old ones, and he gave him the new ones, and that meant they weren't soft anymore.
If we have anybody from the purchasing department watching the show this week, Coach King doesn't work here anymore.
He used his own money.
It's his own fund. He donated it to the school.
Toughest old man on the planet.
It's cool.
Look it up on YouTube.
So let's get back to wrestling.
Yes,
so
sir.
15 qualify on the girls. That means 54 on the boys' side. Paige ends up with 9 qualifiers. Champions Nathan Simpson, Thomas Brown, Grant Hawkinson, Will Parcell, who's had a great year.
Great year.
Fairview, 8 wrestlers, Clevenger, Curtis, Pukel. Now, here's the thing that's kind of a bummer for them. You get Malachi Bennett, who's a 2-time medalist. He's a junior. He doesn't make weight so he's out. That certainly impacts, obviously, his chances of winning, but that big time impacts Fairview's chances at state tournament as a team. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but it makes it tougher.
Well, yeah, well, he was points, barring an injury or something freak. He was guaranteed points. So, yes, that changes things big time for them.
As a team, Summit wins the sectional championship on the boys' side. Names we've been hearing all year: Jarvis Little, Landon Sully, Finley Jamison, Ryan Smith, all champions. Franklin gets 6, Centennial 2, Indy 4, Russell Ford and Spencer Kahn. Nolensville 7, no surprise, at 152, our man Trey McTorrey, and then Brentwood gets 6. Watch out for Wyatt Gibbs in the tournament, Tate.
I agree, and watch out for Trey McTorrey too. Little hiccup in the region, I guess. Is that what that would have been called?
Well, they get the region and the section. I don't know which one you were talking about.
Sectional, yeah. Little hiccup there. He's going to be fine. I still think he wins a state championship.
So let me ask you this. I was talking, the wrestling coaches have really, and Franklin is the one that stands out the most because the way they do the draw, if I'm not mistaken, the sectionals, that maybe they're in different quadrants. That's a quadrant, right? And then beyond that, it's kind of a blind draw. So I know the wrestling coach, I think they're meeting about that this week before the tournament because they have that track wrestling. You know what the rankings are.
Right.
And they're talking about maybe making the rankings set up at the tournament based on the track wrestling rankings. What are your thoughts about that? Versus just draw it. I don't know how they draw it, but
well, didn't they used to do seating meetings, or has that been gone for a while?
Well, that's what they're talking about doing.
Yeah. But I mean, it was coaches in there,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they did it in the past and dropped it, but I know the coaches definitely want something like that.
Yeah. Well, what that does is that takes away the human element of it. They're in there arguing about it, and that thing can get pretty heated.
Right.
And I get it, man. Your guy's undefeated and won the Father Ryan tournament and the Fairview tournament. And my guy won the GP West tournament and the dang, Smoky Mountain Dump tournament. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It can get pretty. So I guess that using those rankings kind of takes that out of it. It takes the emotion out of it.
So let me ask you.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you get the Pat Simpsons of the world and the GP West of the world. You talk to some of those wrestling coaches, some of those seating meetings, there's some legendary stories that have come out of there. Randy Thomas, everybody was scared of him, right? Springfield coach, remember? Nobody messed with him. He didn't even call it wrestling. He called it fighting. He said, hey, now remember when my boy fought your boy, he won 3-2, so.
Yeah, I don't know if they can pull it off just having that meeting, but my thought is with the track wrestling such a big deal.
Yes.
They're all in it. You could maybe go with that. But I'll say this, and listen, I understand wrestling's different. I know for me in basketball, I was okay with the way it was done at the state tournament. And listen, the team I had at Franklin there the last year, I'm just going to tell you, I don't care what anybody says. We had the second best team.
Yeah.
We were the second best team in that tournament. Bearden just happened to really be the best team. We played them first round. That's just part of it. I didn't like it. I hated it. Without question, we were top 3. I think number 2. But anyway, the point is, it's part of it. In Kentucky, when I was growing up, what they would do, I don't even know if they do this anymore, a 16-team tournament, just 16 teams. And you knew at the beginning of the year which regions matched up at the state tournament. So you knew early on, like, oh gosh, if we can make it, we can beat that region. Or if we make it, well, at least we made it.
So which way did you like better?
I think I liked it that way.
Kentucky's way?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where the regions, it was just a draw. Now, the thing that's tricky about us, and this is a whole other story, we can have 2 teams from the same region make it, which if your ping pong ball gets picked and you're lined up with another district or region team, it goes back in there, which I think is a whole nother problem. Not sure we should have. This is our version of the soapbox.
I love the soapbox.
I think you started that. You started a lot of things that.
Hey,
we got to give the people what they want.
We're educating the people, man.
Hey, and earlier you were mentioning the Smoky Mountain Dump. Was that a reference to our buddy from the handshake capital of the world, or the no handshake capital of the world from a couple weeks ago?
No, I thought the handshake capital of the world was over in Memphis, wasn't it? Covington? Or Collierville?
No, that was the didn't want to compete.
That's right.
The handshake capital was...
Yeah, I got your handshake. And I got another one, hey man, I don't know if you know much about Tom Izzo, but he's a little bit like Nick Saban. Your opinions of whether you like him or not, kind of like lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep, but whoever that clown, hey kids, they got offended that he's calling college athletes kids, and that he was talking about.
Yes.
By the way, I agree with the handshake line. I know you do too. I mean, that is a life lesson to look somebody in the eye and say,
Shake
"Hey,
hands.
good game."
Shake hands.
But if we're offended because Tom Izzo is calling kids and college kids, then we've got a little too much to worry about.
Well, when you're 70,
I got a 20-year-old. I still call him my kid.
That's right.
I'm not being disrespectful.
When
I
you're-
love my kid.
when you're 70, like Izzo is, anybody, under 30 is probably a kid.
He doesn't give a rip.
No, he doesn't. He's great.
You probably have met him, haven't you?
Yes, he's great.
Yeah.
Great. Very down to earth.
Hey, man, look at his track record. His kids love him.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of hoops, let's talk a little basketball. And we're going to start with, we'll talk about district results, and then we'll get into region tournaments, which are coming up this week.
Real quick, and then I'm going to go off. A little foreshadowing. Wilco Coach of the Year this year is going to be, it's going to be a tough one.
Oh,
man.
it's going to be.
Female Sport Coach of the Year, that's
Yeah,
going to be tough.
It is. I'd say our buddy Coach Young is feeling okay about his chances at this point, but you never know.
Coach James,
Yeah.
golly. What if they make the state tournament?
It'll be tough.
Coach Brock might win the thing. Heck, Ravenwood might win the thing. It's going to be tough. I can't wait. Sorry,
is
go
gonna
ahead.
be tough.
Basketball.
All right, District 11 4A, girls side, Hillsboro beats Brentwood 35-34 in the final. In the third place game, 38-36, Franklin over Centennial. And listen, it was a split during the regular season, both of those games were. So Hillsboro wins the rubber match against Brentwood. Sydney Ryan had scored late to give Brentwood the lead, and then Letitia Paris, all-district player, makes a reverse layup for the win for Hillsboro. I love the third place game because it was a chance for Franklin and or Centennial to get a second tournament win, which is a big deal for those teams.
Yes.
Those games have been close. Franklin wins 38-36, and one of my favorite stories of the year, Charlotte Robertson, she ends up with 16 points total, 6 in the fourth quarter. Hadn't played since her 8th grade year. And I bet if you could talk to Charlotte now, she would say, I should have.
Yeah.
And we're glad she's back.
Glad she's back. Coach Johnson's done a great job. And
Yes.
not to put you on the spot, you're pretty good at this. Do you have a win total for Coach Hamilton and the Lady Cougars, whatever it is?
Double digits, and keep this in mind.
So that's triple what? No, even more than that, right?
Well, remember this. We were talking in the beginning of the year. They had 2 home wins, like in December, and it was more than they had the past 2 years combined, I think. So now, you know what's funny about it? Not funny, it's true. When you go to Centennial and you just mention his name, I don't care who you're talking to, a principal, an assistant coach, a teacher that's just teaching, they just go on and on about what a great job he's done.
Oh, yeah.
And he loves it there.
Well, that's part of what they like about him. He's a school guy too.
He is.
So, but I was going to say, I think Coach Johnson and Coach Hamilton have done great jobs.
They have.
Both of those programs are on the rise, and I can see them in a year or two competing for that championship.
I can too. And Franklin, I think they're, at the time of the show here, I think 17 wins?
Yep.
It's pretty nice now.
Yes.
Pretty nice little run for them. Hey, boys side, Franklin 48-44 over Hillsboro. Again, that was a split during the regular season. Then the third place game, another big one, kind of like the girls' game was. Big deal for Coach Jeremy Moore and his group to get that 43-42 win at Brentwood. That's where the tournament was held. Tanner Lee, the sophomore, hits a big three-pointer with 3 seconds left. He scored 10 points for the game. And here's what I liked about it, and I think Coach Moore even talked about this. The night before in the semis, they had a chance to beat Hillsboro. They get a drive to the basket, and Lee is open in the corner with a chance to win the game, and they don't hit him. Not that they were being selfish. They just didn't look for him. The next night, they found him. Tanner comes through. I think it's a great momentum win just for the Centennial program, regardless of what happens in the regional tournament.
Well said. I agree. And I tell you another thing, man. You want to talk about a tough district. Look at those two scores, 48-44, 43-42. That's tough, physical, basketball right
It reminds me of the old 9 AAA district. That's the one Dr. Qualls would famously say, first to 40 wins.
there. And what is it, 10 turnovers or something like that.
Like he knows.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that you're right. That is a big win for Centennial and Coach Moore. And to see, we've talked about it before, but to see Jeremy and Bond going at it again, that's just cool, man.
They've gone against each other in 3 different districts.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's really, really cool.
Did you mention Tom Fortner being the MVP?
No, I didn't, but go ahead and talk about Tom. He's a tough kid now.
Well, that's what I think is cool. Do the coaches vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, which I think is good, and they should. But a guy who has 11 points and 6 rebounds is the MVP of the tournament. Now, the championship game is 48-44, but you see that, and that kind of, I would think as a fan, kind of catches you off guard. I think that's awesome. That goes to show how many things that guy, and you've mentioned it on the show, does on this on the court, man. He's not going to go out and score 35 points, but he scores 11, 6 rebounds, takes a charge late, defender. Guy just what I take from that is, what they said is when he was on the court, he was a difference maker on the court and the best guy on the court.
Well, a guy I know you love, and we love him here on the show, Daniel Cochran.
Yep.
Cochran in the semifinals, I think, ended up with 16 points, but there was a long period of time he wasn't playing because he was in foul trouble. It was because of Tom Fortner. Yep. Fortner was matched up with him. I've never
There's
seen
not
it.
a stat for that, but
No.
that dang sure affected the
And
game.
he had Daniel a little bit frustrated. He gave him a little extra here and there, which and let me tell you something. If you guys haven't seen Daniel Cochran play, of all the players in the league, he may have the most upside when you're talking next level. He's got a great looking 3-point stroke.
Oh,
And he's a big guy.
yes. Can
So-
go inside, outside. Oh, and by the way, what was he doing in the fall? He was a
Playing
quarterback.
Yes. I was talking to Coach Brock, and he was talking about how he wants to get stronger, do this and that. And by the way, speaking of Coach Brock, shout out to Jake Brock
Yeah.
if he's out there watching. Had his season end early in that district tournament, win over Overton. What a great young man he
Yes.
is. And Coach Brock, I talked to him about it. He's just first class. It's obvious why Jake is the way he is. When you meet his dad and talk to his dad, total team player out there at Brentwood, does a great job any sport he coaches. Mother's a great person. And you just hate to see Jake go out early. And here's what was interesting. Sometimes coaches say it, but they don't always really mean it. Coaches around the district were sick that he got hurt.
Yeah.
They were sick about it because he's such a great young man.
Yep. Well said.
They may beat Franklin if he plays that game.
I know.
Speaking of which, here's a gem that the folks at Brentwood won't necessarily like. Did a little research on this.
You did.
Franklin, with that semifinal win over Brentwood, this is hard to believe as good as the two teams have been. Franklin has now won 12 of 14 in that matchup. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. That's 7 straight tournament games, Franklin over Brentwood. The last tournament win happened at Ravenwood, 2015, district final. Dennis King over Jamie Wilson. Those were the two coaches. 2015, great championship game. Brentwood goes on to be state runner-up. So when you're talking about teams that are that close, it's pretty hard to believe that 12 of 14 and 7 straight in the tournament for Franklin over Brentwood.
That's unbelievable. That's almost 2 complete graduating classes, So I wonder, was that Garrison Mathews on that team?
Yes.
I bet, yeah.
It was Garrison's senior year.
Yep.
It was a great district that year.
Oh.
And then the region, I believe, was held at Franklin. Franklin played Hillsborough in the semis. I think Hillsborough ended up being a Final Four team that year. It was just a great game that came down to the last play or two. Obviously, Brentwood goes on to go to the state tournament, make it all the way to the finals. So, little history, WCS basketball.
That is definitely a monkey Brentwood wants off their back.
And listen, they get it going a little bit. They should, but look, the teams have been close, those 14.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
So,
Great games. Great
anyway,
rivalry.
sorry to bring that up, Brentwood, but it's part of the show. It's part of the show. All right, let's talk about on the girls' side, 12-4A. Ravenwood Summit and what was a great final at Summit. The first time Summit's made the championship game on the girls' side. Ravenwood wins 49-43. Again, there was a split during the regular season. Columbia defeats Independence in the third place game. And I'm going to say this, you never want to lose, But Indy and Coach Hill getting past Nolensville in the first round, I believe Nolo had beaten them twice during the season. Making the region tournament was a big deal for his team.
Big deal. I think it was a goal they had at the beginning of the year, and one that they knew was gonna be hard to attain. So, but that's why Coach White and Dr. Patton, Dr. Weiss, that's why they hired Coach Hill, because he's a winner. And so no surprise, but yeah, that was big. And like I said, I know that was a goal that they had. So happy for them to attain that.
How about Reagan Grimes? I know.
Playing at a high level.
Can we say enough about it? I know we talk about her all the time. If you talk about all the athletes in Williamson County and you just say, she might be the one.
Yes.
I don't care, boys, girls, it doesn't matter. Whatever sport, she's actually incredible.
Yes.
She is. We can't say enough about her.
Well, I mean, break it down. Who else plays that many sports, number one, but that many sports at a high level? And in all of them, if she decided to specialize in any of them, whichever one, nobody would fault her, right? Especially track and basketball. But excels at all of them. Obviously, as a team person, man, yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's a great story.
So let me ask you this. I really think this is true. So she's going to play at Tennessee Tech, going to play basketball. But I believe she could play at the Division I level in all three.
I do too.
Track, for sure.
Oh.
And I think volleyball. Why not?
If she focused on volleyball, no brainer.
I think she could anyway.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, our volleyball, there's probably some Division I's that they rival.
I think that's I'm just glad she's going up there, because whenever she plays big, I'm going to be able to send you an emoji of a wings up.
Listen, we love Wings Up, but there's a story behind that, which could be the clown show of the season.
Well, yeah, but it's not girls basketball. Kim Rosemond is. My only fear about that is it's going to be hard to keep hold of Coach Kim Rosemond at Tennessee State. Her star is definitely on the rise.
Well, that's what happens at that level, right? Yeah. You do a good job, that means you lose your coach.
Correct.
But it's part of it. Let's talk about the boys' side. Columbia with the 56-54 win over Ravenwood in the final. I think the story of the tournament, though, for the boys' side was that semifinal game.
Yes.
Double overtime. Ravenwood avenges those two early season losses, and it sets them up with, on paper at least, a better draw for the region tournament. Independence goes on to beat Summit in the third place game, 70-60. But that semifinal game was a knockdown, drag-out, great high school game.
Question, is it safe to say that that's kind of been a knock on Ravenwood, is winning those tough tournament games in the past? I thought that was a huge, huge win for the Ravenwood program and the psyche of this team. I think, the way they had to win it.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that is going to set them up for success down the road.
Yeah, and I think Coach Whitlock would say this, especially the teams he's had that were really good, that there's been some tournament disappointments. But
Right.
on the other hand, I think this kind of got this started. Even 2 and 3 years ago, he had a team that really wasn't good, that made it pretty far in the tournament. I think they ended up making the region tournament, but it was a team that was like, okay, they're not that great. I feel like that jump-started what's going on right now.
No, I remember it because I picked them to lose in the first round, and I'll never forget it because she's a good friend of mine now. I didn't know her now, Evan Gaynor's mama. And she found me, and she let me know what she thought of the pick.
Rex was playing then.
Yes, Rex was playing that. Evan was running Michael Lynn's fast break at Woodland at the time. And Evan's one of my favorite kids in the world, man. But anyways, she found me. She let me know that they watched the show. She let me know that she thought I was uneducated and that thank you for the pick. It gave us motivation, and go back to doing whatever it is you do. Quit picking basketball games.
Hey, listen, this is not a recruiting pitch because I don't coach now. I would have loved to coach Rex and Evan Gaynor.
Oh.
Boys, shoot it up. If you're open, let it fly.
And let me say this, not that they love Coach Whitlock. They would have loved to have played for you because Evan's all gas, no brakes.
He does a good job, and the thing, you watch him because he's a young guy.
Yep.
And he's small.
Yep.
But he doesn't play that way. He'll guard whomever Coach Whitlock wants him to guard. I mean, he does a nice job for him.
Well, it's fun to watch them in AAU, when you show up in some of those teams, and you can see those guys looking at him like, they're going to trot that dude out here against me? And you can see it, that it starts to change. The respect for him changes.
There's no back down in him.
No.
I was happy for Coach Whitlock and obviously Coach Wilkins, too. That matchup in the semi was great.
Hey, real quick, because I haven't seen him, and you're a basketball coach. Q Martin, how good is this guy?
Very good.
Yep.
He was the MVP of the district, and you can see why.
Yep.
That was my first opportunity to see him up close and personal in the final. Nice player. And even when he doesn't score a ton, you still got to be worried about him. You know, he changes what you're trying to do because you have to focus on him. Yep. Something that's happening, though, and it's happened with Ravenwood and Independence both on the boys' side, and really Franklin, too. And I think it really bodes well for them. Those 3 and 4 guys in double figures. If you take a look, again, Independence in that semifinal or in the third place game, 4 guys in double figures again. Ravenwood very regularly having 3 guys in double figures. And the play of Lee Millette, man, he brings it. He's one of the reasons I think that Ravenwood's playing so well here at the end of the year.
Well,
a multi-sport athlete.
Go. What a surprise. Q Martin.
Could probably play about 4 sports if he wanted to.
Yep. No, man. It is, man. And then you put those guys with your basketball only guys, and that's when you, in my opinion, you get some really special teams.
100% agree with that. 100% agree. Hey, let's talk about Page. The boys finished runner-up. Late last-second shot by Lincoln County, 56-54. On the girls' side, maybe one of the upsets of the state, honestly. They finished third after they lose to Lincoln in the semis, 51-49. They had won by 14 and 30 in the regular season, so it was nice to see them bounce back in that third place game. Do want to mention, too, again, a nice tournament for her. Shout out to Mackenzie Cochran, the Miss Basketball finalist. We needed to make sure we talk about that again. And then Fairview. On the boys' side, they defeat Cheatham County. That's 5 of 6 years now. Last year, the streak was broken by Creekwood, 65-64. But that's 5 out of 6 years. And if you've been in that gym, we've talked about this before, it shows the district championship. Before these 5, it was years ago, maybe the 60s.
Yeah.
They've got it rolling now. Coach McCoy doing a nice job out there.
Yeah. And I love that, they're Fairview guys. You know what I'm saying?
No question.
It doesn't have to be that way, but it's always neat to see that, right? Like winning again and in a lot of different things, and they're winning with Fairview guys at the helm. Very cool. They're going to make some serious tournament noise.
Dillingham, McCoy, Pendergrass, all in double figures in that Cheatham County game. Again, 63-51 in the final.
And I believe all tournament too, right?
Yes. And the girls finished 4th, kind of like Independence, and really, I'd say Summit, or not Summit, but Centennial on the girls' side. Making the region was very important because it got them 3 extra games.
Yes.
The chances are they're not going to be favored to win a game in the region. If they do, great. If they don't, I think it's okay too. It's about building for next year as well. So congratulations to Coach McGowan and his team. All right, Tate, let's talk some picks here. We're going to spend a little time on picks, and listen. Last time we were here, we had some picks. You were 1 down, I think, or maybe a couple. I don't know what it was, but you went 5-1. I went 3-3. The Hendersonville boys over Centennial. You get the win there. I picked Centennial. And then the Indy boys over Franklin, and Coach Wilkins and the folks at Independence let me have it on that. I mean, as soon as the show came out, we both got a little text from Coach Wilkins kind of questioning
he was a little disappointed in you.
My loyalty. So now I'm 21-8, and you're 22-7. I mean, you got this thing rolling a little bit. But
5-1, man. That's always nice to go 5-1.
That's strong.
But you've had a 5-1, I think.
I've had some undefeated,
okay,
but
okay.
Hey, it's all about the total score.
Okay.
All right, let's talk some picks. We're going to do it a little unconventional.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go first here. You got 3 teams to choose from.
Okay.
Fairview boys.
Yep.
Page girls, Page boys. Pick one of those to win the region tournament. You may think all 3 are going to win, but you got to give me your one that you think's got the shot. Fairview boys, Page girls, Page boys.
Region tournament.
Who you picking to win the region in basketball? Those 3.
You think I'm going to go with the Page girls, but I'm going with my man Trey McCoy. I'm going with the Fairview boys.
That was my pick too.
Oh, sorry.
So I agree. I think they're not that those other 2 can't, but if I had to pick one, I'm going Coach McCoy.
Hey, and by the way, Is Page going to Upperman, the Lady Patriots? Are they going to Upperman?
No,
Okay.
not the first round.
White County?
White County, yeah, they're lined up with them they're in their bracket.
That is
yes.
still a great.
Yeah,
I know
they
that's
play
a
them
long
first.
way
They
to
play
go.
them first.
That is a great first round game.
They're like 23-7.
Yes.
They're away from Upperman, but they have to start with White County.
Yeah, man, what a great tournament that's going to be.
It's going to be maybe one of the best tournaments around, that
Yes.
girls' region tournament.
Yes.
All right, here we go. I'm going to do this one.
Okay.
So the question is, which team finishes higher in Class A at the state wrestling tournament? Fairview or Page?
I mean, do we really even have to go with this? Come on.
Listen, I want to go outside the box and pick Page because, part of me tells me with that one less guy, but I can't get away from
You're the
folks.
president of the fan club.
I am. Listen, I got to stick with, and Coach Gray's done a great job at Page. They had more people qualify for the state than they've ever had. I think it was 9.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Fairview. Fairview is going to finish higher in the team standings.
That was and hey, we could have another segment in costume. That was the Captain Obvious pick of the week. We knew that one. You mentioned more qualifiers in school history, 9 for Coach Gray and the Page. My man Will Parcell, I'm going with the Page Patriots.
I thought you might, which is one of the reasons. And listen, I was going to go Page, but
You can't.
Listen, I want to continue to be the president of the Bubba Derrick Fairview Yellow Jacket Wrestling Fan Club, and I think I've got it locked down.
That's a pretty good position to hold.
Yes. All right, now let's talk all teams, and it's going to be boys and girls combined. Who has the most medalists at the state tournament wrestling of all our schools?
The Summit Spartans.
And I agree.
You were going to try to talk yourself into going Indy because of the girls?
Yes, but
Yeah.
listen, they've got 5 girls that made it too.
Man, be different.
No, it's not. Well, why don't you go in? All right, now
I got to pick first.
let's get in this bracket a little bit. All
right.
Quickly, we're going to look at the 6-4A because we have the most teams in this. No offense to the other brackets.
Yep.
But the region girls and boys tournaments, and here's something that's interesting. I don't know if you noticed this. In fact, Coach Wilkins pointed out to me. Not necessarily by seeding, but the same schools play one another, boys and girls.
Wow.
That's 4 games on each side, and it's the same matchups.
That's nuts.
It's that's like if you'd have picked that and win the lottery. Okay, let's start with the girls' side. And it's my pick.
Oh, girls' side? Okay.
Girls. So we got Summit versus Franklin.
Yep.
Hillsboro, Indy on one side of the bracket. The other side is Brentwood, Columbia, Ravenwood, Centennial. First of all, who comes out of each side? I'm going Summit, Ravenwood to make the final. I think it's matchup number 4. Who you got in the final?
Oh, I agree. Summit on the top, Ravenwood on the bottom.
Here's where it may get a little different. Who do you pick to win the tournament?
Oh, goodness. It's tough to beat.
Oh, don't give me all that.
Yeah,
three-time.
I know.
I don't want to hear it.
But I'm going to go, I think Reagan Grimes and crew are playing at a high level. I'm going with the Lady Raptors. And I don't think they've won a region championship ever. If they did, I bet it was under Coach Brock.
I need to look that up. I bet Coach Brock, who's watching, by the way.
I think that might be the gym.
Coach Brock will let me know. I guarantee he'll text me.
I think he won one.
That's fun. That's a fun one. All right, look. Again, we got to be a little different. I've been saying it all year, and sorry, Coach James, I said I wouldn't pick against you because it's at Summit. I'm going Summit. It is a great matchup.
A little
on those
home
teams.
cooking.
I'm going Summit girls. Don't let me down, Wolfman. Listen, I'll be happy either way, but I got to try to win the picks here.
You win.
All right, let's look at the boys' side.
Okay.
So you go first. Ravenwood, Centennial, Franklin, Summit, one side of the bracket. Hillsboro, Indy, Columbia, Brentwood. Which 2 teams do you think match up in the final?
Franklin Independence.
Oh, okay. So Franklin is what you're saying.
But I'm calling a Brentwood Columbia upset.
Oh,
But then they don't beat Indy. But Brentwood's going to. That's the upset of the tournament. You didn't ask. That's a little bonus content for our preferred subscribers. Brentwood upsets the Columbia Leons, but then they lose to Independence. And they expend a lot of energy doing so.
Centennial Ravenwood, I think, is dangerous. And here's one that nobody's talking about. I think Franklin Summit's dangerous.
Dangerous.
It's at Summit.
Yeah.
The last time they played after Christmas, it was tight. 5 or 6 point game at least late in the game. Okay, so you're saying.
So you're picking Summit to make the finals.
No. You said Franklin Indy. I'm going.
Franklin Indy, yes.
I'm going Ravenwood Indy.
Ooh.
So who you got winning it?
Franklin.
Okay, so there's 2 differences. You're going Franklin to win it. I'm going Indy to win it. Coach Wilkins, I don't want to hear about it.
Separation Saturday.
You better come through. So let's make sure we're on the same page
Put your
here.
money where your mouth is.
So we got 2 different picks here. Ravenwood, Indy in the finals, what I say. You say Franklin, Indy. You've got Franklin winning it. I've got Indy winning it.
Correct.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, do I get a bonus points for the Brentwood over Columbia?
Well, I mean.
And Ravenwood, I think you're right. They win, but they get by Centennial by the skin of their teeth.
Centennial beat them last week of the season, which I think kind of got Ravenwood going for the tournament.
Yep.
And it got Centennial going. They both have played well in the tournament. All right, Tate, lots going to happen. I don't feel totally confident about my picks, but I'm going to roll with it.
Well, I mean, I'm only up by 1 game. I mean, it's not like this is.
Hey, final thing I do want to mention. This is hot off the presses. Nolensville boys basketball looking for a new coach. Todd Babington, after a couple years, has stepped down. We wish Coach Babington well.
Good man.
If those any basketball coaches out there from around the state, you want to be a part of the big time, put your application in. WCS.
Build it and they will come.
No doubt about it. Tate, always good to be with you.
Hey, I'm glad to be back, man. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
A whole lot. Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.